Okay guys, makinig kayo kay ma'am. At mag-take down notes kayo. Taas.
Good afternoon. Nag-echo. Wait lang. Saan ba siya? This one. Hello, good afternoon. Okay. Ayan. All right, so welcome back guys. Nakita-kita na tayo nung nakaraan during our lecture. So we'll be having 100 items questionnaire, and then I will explain to you why such answer is the correct answer. No? So these are questions ranging from introduction of forensic chemistry up to toxicology. I hope it can help everyone for the board exam this coming December. All right, so let's start. Number 1. So the following are sizing materials that may be added to paper. Which among them gives a blue color when tested with a few drops of iodine solution? A. Rosin, B. Casein, C. Gelatin, D. Starch. Anong sagot dito, guys? Anyone? Nag-try kayo magsagot? Okay, letter C. Is it C? Nako, guessing game tayo ngayon. So, a blue color class is given by starch. Okay, take note. So, starch will give a blue color with iodine solution. So, let's add it's letter D. D. Ang rosin, ang positive result niyan is a brown color. Casein is pink. Gelatin is a yellow precipitate, and then starch is blue color when tested with iodine solution. All right, so take note also the test reagents which are used for number 1. So for rosin, ether is the test reagent, ether, E-T-H-E-R. Casein is millions reagent. And then letter C is tannic acid. So I am referring to the test reagents ha. Ang starch, it will give a positive result with iodine solution. Kasi minsan hinahanap din yung mga chemicals na pinangtetest dyan. These are actually, so these 4 are actually sizing materials which may be present in paper. Okay, next, number 2. So a black coarsely peppered pattern around the gunshot wound. Okay, so tattooing. So mag-keyword kayo dyan. So tattoo is from, yun nga, parang that which are observed around the gunshot wound. Okay. Next, number 3 sa common yan eh. Number 3, the following can be determined in microscopic examination for hair except A, the region from which the human hair has been removed, B, how the hair was removed, whether naturally or forcibly, C, whether the hair was cut with dull or sharp instrument or was burned or crushed. And then letter D, the approximate age of the person who owns the hair. Whether the hair was cut with a dull approximate. Oh, okay. Ang pinaka-best answer dyan is letter D, the approximate age of the paper who owns the hair. Okay, letter D. Very good. Kasi the region from which the human hair has been removed, ano kasi yan, that's one of the features of microscopic examination. And microscope, kasi approximate age of the person who owns the hair class is, ang ginagamit dyan is chemical test. Tapos yung letter A, B, C, these are done using the microscopic examination. Okay? So, kasi baka mamaya isipin nyo, kasama yan sa, sa test for hair. But, it is considered as a chemical test for hair. Okay? So, chemical test, yung letter D, yung A, B, C, those are all microscopic examination. Number 4, the MI or medullary index of a hair specimen submitted for analysis is 0.423. This means that it came from, yes. Okay, letter. It's 0.423. Yes, it's letter B. So, it was discussed last time class that in order to compare the human hair of most, human hair of that human hair and that of the other animals, human hair is with an MI which is less than 0.5, and then for animals more than 0.5. So our question is 0.423. So it's lesser than 0.5. That means that is a human hair. Next. Which of the following is the most conclusive test for fibers? Anong sagot? So letter A, burning test. B, fluorescence test. C, chemical test. D, microscopic test. Some says B, some says D. The answer, class, is D, microscopic test. It's microscopic test. Why? Because the microscopic test can be able to identify each kind of fiber. Ang burning test, class, ang burning test, guys, is this is just a preliminary test which tells us the general group where the fiber belongs. Samantala yung microscopic test, it can identify specifically the characteristics of the different kinds of fiber. So on burning, it will just tell us whether it is animal or human, animal or vegetable fiber, and then the other one is mineral fiber. Ayan. So ang fluorescence test, ganun din, It will also determine the general group of the fiber. Ang chemical, ganun din, it's the general group. So generally, or general classification, yung ABC, while the microscopic test, it can specifically give the characteristics of the different kinds of fibers. So just like, for example, cotton. So what is the appearance or the characteristics of cotton in the microscope? So cotton under the microscope has a ribbon-like structure which is twisted left or right on its axis, which is not present in other samples of fibers. So another, we have wool. So wool consists of scales, So just like hairs. Kasi ang hair is an animal fiber. So it consists of lahat yan, wool, silk, and then we have hair. Meron sila mga fibers, but of course, no, if you're going to study further the scale patterns of this cuticle of these different types of fibers, magkakaiba pa rin sila. Number 6, how do we compute for the MI? So, what is the medullary index of a hair specimen if the diameter is 1.2 and the diameter of its medulla is 0.05? The answer is A. Magko-compute lang kayo dyan. MI equals diameter of the medulla divided by the diameter of the whole hair. All you have to do is to compute. Diameter of the medulla is 0.5. Okay. And then the diameter of the whole hair is 1.5. 1.2. All right, so 0.42, tama. So it's letter A. So 0.0416. So meaning, if I'm going to give you further another question here. So if our answer is 0.416, to what group of specimens does it belong? Yes, it's a human hair. Okay, minsan kasi lumalabas guys ganyan na question. Kinompute nyo na and then may kasama pang tanong, is it human or animal hair? Ayan. All right, number 7. So number 7, we have gaping hole. Okay. Gaping hole, singeing, smudging, tattooing are the characteristic patterns observed on a gunshot wound on the clothing of the victim submitted for distance determination, or that's the GSR. What is the probable distance of the shooter to the victim? Letter C. Is it letter C? Okay, A, 0 to 2 inches. Yes, it's letter A. All characteristic patterns are observed when the distance or the GSR, guys, is between 0 to 2. So we have the gaping hole, singeing, smudging, tattooing, because those are all the characteristic patterns that we can observe in order to determine gunshot range. Paano pag 2 to 8? Anong characteristic patterns yan? Ayan, that's number 8 question. When the firearm is discharged at a distance of 2 inches to 8 inches from the body of the victim, what are the characteristic patterns observed? Okay, baliktad naman. So we have, ano yung letter A, tattooing, B, smudging and tattooing. We have C is singeing and tattooing. D, smudging, tattooing is seldom present. So your answer is, okay, from Gretchen, it's letter B. From Sarah, it's letter B, correct. So smudging and tattooing. Okay. Pagka kasi at 2 to 36 inches or that should be 8 to 36 inches yung choice tong number 7. Going back to number 7, yung isang choice dapat dyan is 8 to 36. Pag 8 to 36, ano na lang ang ang characteristic pattern na makikita natin, guys? If it is 8 to 36 inches. Anyone? 8 to 36 inches. What characteristic can we observe? So only tattooing na lang, ha? Take note. Tattooing na lang yung makikita natin pagka 8 to 36 inches. And then beyond, yes. Okay, beyond 36 inches, powder tattooing is seldom present. So wala na tayong makikitang what do you call this? characteristic patterns if it's already 36 inches and beyond. Okay, sa lampas, 1 metro yun guys. Wala na tayong makikitang characteristic patterns. Alright, number 9. Number 9, the following are factors to be considered in the interpretation of the DPA paraffin test. Except, okay, A, time of reaction. Okay, B, number of blue specks. C, location and character of the blue specks. And then D, color reaction. What is the answer? Okay, from, is it B, Limar? Is it A? Okay, D. Alright, D ang pinaka-best na sagot dyan. Bakit kasama yung A? Time of reaction class, no? This is considered by the forensic examiner because the time of reaction should be within 2 minutes. Yung deep blue specks na tinatawag doon sa paraffin cast, dapat lumabas yan within 2 minutes. So, the time of reaction should be also considered by the forensic chemist. Okay, kasama yan sa interpretation. Another, number of blue specks, kasama yan. Kasi binibilang ni forensic chemist kung ilan yung blue specks doon sa, especially on the fingers of the cast, no, obtained from the suspect. Then location and character of the blue speck. So yun, tinitingnan din. Saan banda marami? So location, it should be on the dorsal aspect of the hands of the person. So dorsal, ano yung dorsal guys? So dorsal is dito banda. Dito banda yung dorsal aspect ha. Tapos yung number of blue specks dito, may tig-tatlo, tig-dalawa dyan. So some are also found here. No? Tig-tatlo, tig-dalawa na blue specks. So ano yung blue specks with tailing? Parang kama na lumitaw. Mamaya ipapakita ko sa inyo ano itsura. Okay, and then blue specks. So yung color reaction, it's the least, no? Least of or among the choice. That's why your letter D is the answer. Okay, next we have number 10. So what specimen evidence is usually submitted in the determination of gunshot range or distance determination? A, both hands of the suspect. B, firearm. C, clothing of the victim. Then letter D, all of the choices. Hindi po. It is the clothing of the victim. So both hands of the suspect, that is for the DPA paraffin test. Okay? Ano nyo na ha? Idagdagan natin yung info nyo dyan. Pag ang choice nyo, both hands of the suspect, that is submitted for the DPA paraffin test. Firearm is for determination of approximate time of firing of the gun. Gunshot wound is, or gunshot range, I should say, GSR, the specimen to be submitted is letter C, or the clothing of the victim. Yung iba dyan kasi nagte-take down notes. Sige lang, okay lang. Okay, number 11. The alleged shooter must be subjected for paraffin DPA test within how many hours, guys? Is it 36? Is it 78, 72, 48, or 36 hours? It's letter B from Windel. Okay. It's letter B as in Bravo. Standard yan, 72 hours all over the world. Okay. That's number 12. The process of partitioning a sample between the liquid phase, which is the solvent, and the solid phase, which is the paper. So, eto sa paper analysis yan class, sa QD. Which of the 4 is the correct answer? A, spectroscopic. B, paper chromatography. C, gas, liquid, chromatography, and then letter D, none of the choices. What's the answer? Letter? Hindi po. It's letter B. Paper chromatography. Okay, from Robsky de la Plana to everyone. Letter B. Okay, it's bravo. Paper chromatography. So, kung active yung pinanggalingan yung school, pinapagawa yan sa laboratory during the face-to-face mode of instruction. PCCR is doing that. New Era University is doing that. I just do not know from those who graduated from other schools. Kasi ito pinagagawa ko talaga yung paper chromatography na yan. Alright, next. So dyan, it is a test, I think, a test for ink pala yan, yung paper chromatography. This is actually the test for ballpoint pen ink. Take note, it is for ballpoint pen ink. Then number 13, a test to determine the fiber, the loading, and the sizing composition of paper. What test is it? Letter A, chemical. Letter B, physical. C, spectrographic. And then D, microscopic. Any more guess? Microscopic. It's letter A, yes. No? So letter A, chemical test. Ayan. Dami nyong ano dito, matutunan pala. Okay, next. It's the obscuring of writing by superimposing ink or any marking material. Anong ibig sabihin ng obscuring? Yung document yan, tapos papatungan mo pa ng panibagong ink. Okay, from the term. Letter, all right. So letter C. Madali lang yung number 14 na tanong. Okay, number 15. Is it always possible to determine gunshot range? Okay, our choices. A, no, especially if the distance is already beyond 36 inches. Yes, when the distance is very far. C, no, especially if the distance is at contact up to 24 inches. Yes, when the victim is close. Anong sagot dyan? Okay, eto mga suntok sa buwan na tanong to guys eh. Letter A, yes, Wendell, very good. No, especially if the distance is already beyond the 36 inches. Kasi wala na tayong makitang characteristic patterns, guys, pagka beyond 36 na tayo. So it is not always possible. Pero pagka ang tanong is it possible to determine gunshot range? Of course, the answer is yes. Through the characteristic patterns. Yung always dyan ang nakakalito eh. Is it always possible to determine gunshot range? A, ang sagot natin, no, especially if the distance is already beyond 36 inches. All right, number 16. The positive result of the DPA paraffin test. A, deep blue specks with tailings on the dorsal aspects of the hands. B, deep blue specks with tailings both are found both on the dorsal and palmar aspects of the hands. Dorsal, likod ng palad. Okay, tapos yung palmar, of course, yung palad mismo. Deep blue specks without which are found on the 5 fingers. D, both blue conglomeration on the dorsal aspects of the hands. Our answer is letter A. Yung B kasi guys, pagka B ang sagot, that might be nitrates coming from different substances, except for that from nitrate residues na galing sa baril. Kasi yung letter A, that's the positive result for the DPA paraffin test. It's a deep blue specks with tailings, meaning it came within the skin. Kasi once na nagpaputok ng baril ang isang suspect, guys, no, those burned and unburned particles will be coated onto the dorsal aspect of the hands and become implanted. So, papasok sa pores natin yan. So, ang magpa-positive talaga, yung dorsal aspect, yung likod ng palad natin. Okay, so this one. Why? Kasi ito yung exposed na surface ng ating kamay. Pag humawak kasi tayo ng baril, nakagrip ng ganyan yan, di ba? O, yes, yan yung sagot. O nga po, kasi nakatiklop. So, ganyan yan. So, ang exposed surface, ito, it's the dorsal aspect. Yung letter B, pag yan ang positive result na nakuha ni forensic chemist, ine-negative nila yan. Why? It might be nitrate or it might be nitrates coming from other sources such as fertilizers, what else? Cosmetics, ano pa? We have this urine, detergent, yun, magpa-positive din yan. Ayan na, nagbukas na ako ng camera. Alright. Next. Ba't gusto nyo pa makita? Importante makita nyo yung makita nyo yung birthday ko kasi naka-red ako. Hindi, masaya lang ako. You know why? I share ko lang sa inyo. My daughter will be having her take off tomorrow, NCRPO. Ayan. Nakikita ako. Yes. 2020 graduate yung aking anak, proud nanay eh. 2020 graduate yung anak ko. Dapat kasabayan niyo siyang mag-board exam. Siya rin. Magkano ka ba bukas? Alright. So, number, na tayo? Number 17. Alam niyo kung ang eligibility ng anak ko? Civil service. Okay, kasabayan niyo dapat siya mag-take ng board kasi 2020 graduate yon. She took the civil service when you were still in your second year college siya, kumuha na siya ng prof. Yes, mahirap ang CS. Second year college lang siya nung pumasa siya ng civil service. And then eto na si pandemic, 'di ba? So 2020 nung November lang sila declared na graduate last year. So ayun, it's her first time. It's her first time to apply. Naman, sinuwerte. Bukas of taking. Alright. Number 17 na tayo. Alright. What is the purpose of the DPA paraffin test? Ito, madaling question yan. Bonus question. Answer? Hindi nyo ba talaga ako nakikita? Nakabukas, naka-on cam na ako. Okay, letter A. So, determines whether or not a person fired a gun with his bare hands. Alright. Next, we have number 18. If a forensic chemist wants to determine whether hair is naturally fallen or forcibly pulled, which part of the hair will he examine? Number 18 na tayo. Okay, if a forensic chemist wants to determine whether hair is naturally fallen or forcibly pulled, which part of the hair will he examine? Okay, letter A, of course, root. Bakit? Kasi kung forcibly pulled yan, of course, we can still observe the root. While if it is a naturally fallen hair, that hair sample has no roots already. Kasi nga, naturally fallen, ibig sabihin, nawalan na siya ng root, kaya nalagas na lang siya. So, it's the root. So, a chemical examination for semen that produces a red-orange pigmentation. Is it A? Ayan. Acid phosphatase. Number 16. Hindi niyo alam yung number 6. Balikan natin. Letter A, ang sagot. Positive result of the DPA paraffin test is letter A. Okay, balikan natin. Back to number 19 na tayo. A chemical examination for semen that produces a red-orange pigmentation. Our answers are, we have acid phosphatase A, B, Florence test, C, Barberius test, D, spermatoprecipitin test. Okay, our answer guys is letter A, acid phosphatase test. Ang Florence test, ang positive result niyan is a dark brown, choline per iodide crystals. Dark brown. Ang Barberius test, ang positive result niyan is a yellow precipitate of spermine picrate. Spermine picrate yan. Crystals ang lumalabas dyan sa letter B and letter C. Spermatoprecipitin is to detect whether it is human or animal semen. So, ang sagot is letter A, acid phosphatase test. Number 20. Oh. If blood stains in different areas of the crime scene are collected and packed separately, what best guiding principle is applicable? A, sufficiency of samples. B, maintenance of individuality. C, labeling and sealing. D is standard for comparison. Okay, number 20. Kung daw yung mga blood stains ay nasa iba't ibang bahagi nung crime scene. Okay, what best guiding principle is applicable? A, hindi na yan. Hindi nakasama si letter A. Mag-ano kasi kayo? Mag-cancel kayo. Letter B, maintenance of individuality. Ano ba yung maintenance of individuality? Letter C, labeling and sealing. Kasama ba si sealing? Does it matter? May relationship ba siya doon sa sealing? Yung collection that they should be separately packed or collected separately? Standard for comparison. Ang standard for comparison is standard specimen yan. Ano yung standard specimen? Galing sa victim yan, galing sa suspect yan. So, hindi kasama yan. Yes, it's letter B. Maintenance of individuality. Labeling kasi, lahat naman kailangan i-label eh. Okay, hindi nakasama si A at saka si letter D. Bakit? Standard for specimen or for comparison, known specimen yan. Galing yan sa suspect o kaya sa victim. Sufficiency of samples, hindi rin yan. Bakit? Wala siya kinalaman sa collection ng specimen. Packed separately eh. So, maintenance of individuality. Okay, why? Because once there are several blood stains found in the different areas of the crime scene, this might belong to 2 or more different persons. So, we call it maintenance of individuality. Hindi sila dapat pagsama-samahin or else, no, disaster ang collection ng blood specimens. Okay? Number 21. If a blood stain yan, is positive with A cells plus anti-A and negative with B cells plus anti-B, what is its blood group? Okay, stain yan. It is, anong gagamitin natin dito? Is it direct method or indirect method? Indirect. So, since that is a blood stain, indirect yan. So, ang sagot natin is letter C. Oh, wait. Negative with B cells plus anti-B. The answer is, kung saan siya negative, yun yung blood group niya. Ayun. It's negative with B cells. So, the answer is letter D as in Delta. Indirect yan eh. Kung saan negative, yun yung blood group. Kung direct technique yan, if it is a fresh blood, yan, positive siya sa anti-A, yun, it's ang sagot. O wag na nating ayoko na kayong lituhin diyan. So since that is a blood stain, what you're going to apply is indirect. So kung saan siya negative, yun yung blood group niya. So our answer is letter D. Blood group B. Bravo. Ayan. Number 22. The following are characteristics of a seminal stain except, ayan, appears like, ma'am, if both positive, no, it's not. Pag both positive yan, ang blood group niya is, okay. Tama, group O. Meron ba dyan? Oo, pag both positive yan, since blood stain yan, ang blood group niya is O. Tama yon. Okay, number 22. The following are characteristics of a seminal stain except, ayan, appears like an outline of a contour map. Pag natuyo ba ang semen sa underwear, ano ang itsura? Sagot sa number 21, delta. May kopya kayo niyan, guys? All right. The following are characteristics of a seminal stain except, okay, A, appears like an outline of a contour map. B, it gives a stiff, starchy feeling to the cloth. C, it has a grayish white or a yellowish stain. And then D, it emits a yellowish fluorescence under the ultraviolet light. The answer is number 22. Its answer is D, delta. Why? Under the fluorescence test class, seminal stain emits a bluish fluorescence. Nakalagay dyan yellowish. So, yan yung exception. Lahat, A, B, C are actually the characteristics of a seminal stain. Yung letter D, nilito lang kayo dyan kasi seminal stain emits a bluish fluorescence under the UV light. All right, number 23. The formation of a white precipitate or line of precipitate at the zone of contact of two liquids in human blood is determined by which test? A, precipitin. B, confirmatory. C, yes, it's precipitin test. Okay, so precipitin test. So from the word precipitate, pagka merong, o kaya white ring lang, mamaya walang precipitate. White ring ang nakalagay. Basta human or animal blood, the test is the precipitin. Preliminary, so may keyword kayo dyan. Preliminary, first step pa lang yan. Confirmatory, i-confirm mo pa lang kung blood siya o hindi. Okay, blood grouping, di yan kasama kasi ang blood grouping, alam nyo, A, B, tsaka O. Ayan. So it's the precipitate or the precipitin test. Next, number 24. What examination is best employed in the determination of the presence of spermatozoa in semen? A, microscopic. B, biological. C, chemical. D, physical. Okay, A, microscopic. Spermatozoa yan. Common sense, makikita ba natin na spermatozoa using the chemical test? Diba? Sobrang liit niyan. So, we have to apply the microscopic examination. Di siya pwedeng biological kasi biological is already for the spermatoprecipitin test. Chemical, ito yung fluorescence, fluorens, barbareous, pati yung acid phosphatase yan. Physical is yun lang, mismong literal, you're going to observe the appearance of the semen or the seminal fluid. Kaya, the best answer there is microscopic test. Number 25. So, when a blood stain collected on the shirt of a suspect has matched with the blood of the victim, what type of evidence is it? Okay, yung shirt daw ng suspect, ay yung blood stain nandoon sa shirt ni suspect. A shirt no suspect. And they match with the blood of the victim. What type of evidence is it? Okay, letter 8. Sabi ni Marzan. Sabi ni Connie. Alright. So it is circumstantial evidence. Ano ba kasi circumstantial evidence? It has to be proven first, no? So the evidence should be submitted first, no? Circumstantial, kumbaga nagkataon nandoon. So yan, fact finder, correct. Sa fact finder, you have to approve first. Tama, fact finder. You have to prove first, no? Link to the suspect. Ayan. Very good. Ayan, nakakaano kayo? Nakakapulot kayo sa mga ka-classmate nyo. Next. Which does not belong to the group? A, red blood cells or erythrocytes. B, white blood cells or leukocytes. C, blood platelets or thrombocytes. D, plasma. All of these, yes, all of these are the component of blood. But the best answer there is D. Why? Yung A, B, C are the solid. Yes. These are the solid parts or components of blood. Tas yung plasma is the liquid part. So, ang sagot sa number 26 is delta. So, it's plasma. Puro solid yung red blood cells, white blood cells, saka blood platelets. Okay, next. If blood stains are found on large immovable objects like walls, floors, doors, what is the best method used in the collection? By swabbing, by scraping, by placing the stains in test tubes. The letter D, use of blotting paper. Blood stain na yan. So it is done by scraping. Okay? Scraping. Ang sagot, bravo. So you have to scrape it. Ang swabbing kasi, no? Swabbing is applicable to blood stains which are found on smooth surfaces like tiles, glass. Ang swabbing. Tapos yung blotting paper naman, sa ano yan? Sa, what do you call this? Yung liquid blood. Pwedeng blotting paper. Isok mo lang, sasawsaw lang yung blotting paper sa liquid blood. Kasi letter C, placing the stains in test tube, hindi. No? Ang nilalagay sa test tube, no, usually is liquid blood. Okay? So stain yan eh. Ba't mo ilalagay sa test tube? Number 28. If blood stains are found on movable objects like hammer and knife, who is the ideal person to collect the stain? Is it the police investigator? A. B. Forensic chemist. C. The lawyer. D. The arresting officer. Okay. If blood stains are found on movable objects like hammer and knife, who is the ideal person to collect the stain? Dito kayo, nalilito kayo dyan. Okay, the answer guys is letter B, forensic chemist. Bakit hindi si police investigator? The work of the police investigator guys is to collect the hammer. Okay? Siya yung magko-collect doon sa hammer with the stain. Yes. Yan, collect kasi ma'am yung stain, no? Stain ang i-collect eh, hindi naman yung hammer eh. If blood stains are found on movable objects like hammer and knife. So, bali, ang gagawin ni police investigator or the SOCO investigator is to collect the hammer. Di ba? Yes, si chemist ang mag-process. Meaning, siya na yung magko-collect doon sa stain sa hammer. Hindi pwedeng, walang karapatan si SOCO na magtanggal ng blood doon sa hammer, kundi he has the SOCO investigator should submit the whole hammer or the knife with the blood stain. Bahala na si chemist na magtanggal ng blood dyan. Yes, si Antolin, may question? Ayun. Malinaw na? Hindi tatanggalin ni investigator yung blood sa hammer kasi movable object yan. Yan mismo yung isasubmit. Kasi hindi mo pwedeng iwanan yung hammer doon sa ano eh. Hindi mo pwedeng iwanan yung hammer sa crime scene. You have to, as a SOCO investigator, you have to collect that. Next, number 29. Red blood cells agglutinated or were positive with anti-A but not with anti-B. What is the blood group? Okay, A, group AB, B, group B, group C, all right, group A. So, group A is the answer why this is red blood cells, fresh blood yan. So, the technique that we're going to use is the direct technique. So, positive siya sa anti-A, negative siya sa anti-B, the blood group is group A. Kasi red blood cells yan. So, depende guys kung paano bumabagsak yung question. Kanina, blood stain. So, isipin nyo, indirect to. Ganun lang. So, you should have a clue. Pag blood stain ang nabasa nyo sa question, you will apply the indirect technique. Pag red blood cells, ganyan, agglutinated, or the blood of the victim, meaning fresh yun. The blood of the victim agglutinated or were positive with anti-A but not with anti-B. So, ibig sabihin nun, direct technique, fresh blood yan. Number 30. So, this is a difficult question. A group O child could not be produced by which pair of parents? A, group AB father and group B mother. B, group B father and group B mother. C, group A father and group A mother. D, group B father and group O mother. A, group AB father and group B mother. Ang sagot dyan, guys. Madali lang yan eh. Tingnan nyo, pag nag-criss-cross matching kayo dyan, walang lalabas na. Can you still recall your criss-cross matching kung paano kumuha? That is the application of the law of genetics. Nag-discuss ako niya noong nakaraan. So if you're going to group the AB and the BO, what will come out there is AB, tapos B, and then we have A, and tama, A, AB, saka B. 50% na B yan. So, walang O na lalabas sa letter A. Sa BB naman, okay, ang lalabas dyan is B saka O. Because you have to pair that, no? Di ba, chromosomes usually come in pair. So, i-pair mo sa B, O. I-pair mo sa another B, O pa rin. Kaya may lalabas na O dyan. Ganon din si group A and group A father-mother. Ayan. Number 31. Under the ultraviolet light, seminal and blood stains emit fluorescence. What color do they impart? Bluish, yellowish, brownish, reddish. Color of fluorescence. Letter A ang sagot. Okay, A. Next. The principle involved in the preliminary test for blood. Anong sagot yan? A, oxidation. 30? Di ba natin nagawa yung 30? Okay, 30 is letter A. 30, ang answer is A. Okay, 31, A ulit. Then 32, the principle involved in the preliminary test for blood. Which of the following? A, oxidation. B, reduction. C, dehydration. D, hydration. Our answer is letter A. Okay, A. If you can recall our discussion there, oxidation meaning the addition of oxygen, no? From the hydrogen peroxide in order to oxidize the reduced form of their agents to their colored compounds. Kaya lumilitaw yung mga blue color, pink color, what else? We have navy blue, pink, a beautiful blue color, pati ano yung sa letter D, the acid phosphatase. Ay na, it's not the acid phosphatase. We have the malachite green test. All right, so oxidation ang sagot yan. Number 33, the only specific or conclusive test for semen and seminal stains. Baliktad lang yung sagot dyan kanina. A, fluorescence test. B, microscopic. C, biological. D, chemical test. So it's microscopic test. Next. It is added to blood to preserve it for 1 week at room temperature. So ano yung preservative natin for blood? Is it A, sodium fluoride, B, ethyl alcohol, C, sodium chloride, D, formalin? Preservative yan. Is it A, B, C, or D? Our answer, class, is letter A, sodium fluoride. It is sodium fluoride, alpha. Next, number 35. Which crystals confirm the presence of hemoglobin in the blood? A, choline periodide, B, hemochromogen, C, spermine picrate, D, none of the above. Answer? Okay, B, hemochromogen is from the word hemoglobin. Wala namang ibang term yan, kundi hemoglobin, hemochromogen eh. Yung isa naman is hematine chloride. So another positive result, class, no, of the hemoglobin in the blood is the hematine chloride that is in, ang hemochromogen crystal is the positive result for Takayama test kasi. Tama? Tapos yung isa, which is the acetonhamin test, no? The positive result of that is hematine chloride. So what we are identifying here is the presence of the hemoglobin. So hemochromogen o kaya hematine chloride ang positive result niyan or ang sagot niyan. 36. Blood of different species can be differentiated by what test? A, microscopic, B, spectroscopic, C, microcrystalline, D, chemical test. Okay, letter A, we have microscopic. So, microscopic can determine whether it is avian, mammalian, reptilian blood, or it is blood from, what do you call this? From lochial or nasal passages. Yan. O kaya menstrual blood. So that's the function of the microscopic. Spectroscopic is hindi naman kasama sa test for blood yan. So tanggal yan. Microcrystalline and chemical test mean the same. Parehas ang ibig sabihin ng microcrystalline pati chemical test. So the best answer or the correct answer is letter A, microscopic test. Next. How about number 37, bonus question. A condition where males have no spermatozoa at all in their seminal fluid, baog. O anemia, alam niyo yan, sa tanggal niyo yan, cross niyo yan. Anorexia, hindi yan. O alin sa dalawa? A, okay. So A is aspermia. So totally walang spermatozoa ang semen. So baog yan. Oligospermia means few spermatozoa. Meron pa rin, pero konti. So oligospermia, few spermatozoa ang keyword nyo dyan. Okay, so the answer for 37 is letter A. Next. These are chemical principles or structures found in the surface of each red blood cells. A, antigens. B, agglutinins. C, proteins. And then D, genes. Chemical structures which are found on each surface of the red blood cells. Okay. Yes, it's letter A. Tanggalin na natin si proteins saka genes, no? Sa meron, is we have antigen. Ang agglutinin nasa serum yan. Take note. Antigen nasa red blood cells. Okay, 38. The answer is letter A. Next. The method used in grouping of dry blood or blood stain. Binabanggit ko kanina yan. What method? Blood stain. Indirect absorption, direct grouping, regrouping. Sa letter A, it's indirect method. Okay, why indirect method? Bakit ginagamit natin na indirect method, guys? Indirect because we can no longer group the red blood cells, but instead, what we're grouping there is already the serum. Bakit? Kasi yung red blood cells, sira na, no? So they have been ruptured due to drying. So we can no longer use the red blood cells. So instead, what is to be grouped is the serum. Kaya meron na tayong known A cells plus anti-A. Known B cells plus anti-B. So ang ginugroup natin dyan, yung serum na. Direct sa red blood cells yan. Next, number 40. So ang answer natin sa 39 is letter A. Number 40, the following statements are correct except, okay, A, all blood stains can be identified by the precipitin test. Heat affects precipitin test. C, precipitin test is not specific for human blood. D, acids and alcohols may inhibit or even destroy precipitin reaction. Anong sagot sa number 40? Okay, letter C, because it's really precipitin which is already a specific test for human blood. Oh, madali lang yan. So letter C, kasi letter A, B, C are actually the limitations of precipitin test. So all blood stains can be identified. So that's a fact, no? Pwede kasi nating ma-identify yung if it is human blood or animal blood using all blood stains. Kaya yan. Ngayon, heat affects precipitin. That's one limitation of the test. Tapos, letter D, acid and alcohols may inhibit or even destroy. That's one limitation of the test also. Kasi letter C, so that is a fact that precipitin test is already a specific test. Ano ang nagpabago dyan? Not specific. So you have to be careful when you read the statements, no? So not specific kasi ang nakalagay dyan. So that's the exception. Number 41. Is it always possible to restore tampered serial numbers? Okay, A. Yes, by using etching fluids. B. No, it is not always possible, especially if the filing is too deep. No, it is not possible even if the tampering is shallow. D. Yes, by applying physical and chemical means. Okay. Your answer should be letter B because that's the limitation of the test, no? It is possible. Pagka ang, yan, you read between the lines. Pagka ang tanong is it possible to restore tampered serial numbers? Ang isasagot natin A. But since, yes, it is not always, no? Letter B. Especially if the filing is too deep. So, ano ibig sabihin yan, guys? Pag sobrang lalim, yung pagkakatamper o yung pagkakabura ng mga serial numbers, we can no longer restore it. Sobrang lalim eh. That's the limitation of the macro etching method. Alright, may tanong, no? Meron akong smart na estudyante, guys, tungkol sa macro etching. Ma'am, sabi niya ganon, is it possible to use the etching fluid when the serial numbers are laser embossed? Gulat ako sa kanya. Ito lang, itong SEM na to. Is it? Pag laser embossed ang ang serial number, can we restore the numbers using the etching fluid? Okay, hindi na guys, no? What is to be used there is ibang test ang ginagamit diyan. Stereomicroscopic examination. So it's already an instrumental method which is used to identify those tampered serial numbers. So we cannot use this etching fluid. Ang etching fluid kasi is the chemical which is used to restore tampered serial numbers when those serial numbers are stamped on the metal. So may limitation na naman siyang isa. Pag in-stamp yan sa metal, no, using physical means, no, striking or stamping method ang ginamit, then we can apply the etching fluid. Pero kung laser emboss ang serial numbers class, we cannot use the etching fluid. So there is another method there, which is the stereomicroscopic examination. Number 42. The following are importance of macro etching in criminal investigation. Except, okay, A, conflicting claims of properties recovered by investigators can be resolved. Kasama ba to? Conflicting claims of properties recovered by investigators can be resolved. Exception tayo, ha? Okay. Mamaya. Letter B. The property found in the possession of the suspect can be proven that it is actually owned by the victim. C. An investigative lead from the article or the property that may have been taken from the scene of the crime can be established. Letter D. The actual date and time the property was purchased can be determined. Okay. Sagot niya is letter, except is letter D, guys. No? Napaka common sense. Letter D, actual date and time the property was purchased cannot be determined using the micro-etching. Pwede siyang supporting document, pero wala doon sa tampered numbers yon, no? The date and the time the property was purchased cannot be determined from the tampered numbers. Alright? So, kasama sa sagot yung ABC. No? The following are the importance of macro etching in criminal investigation. So, 1, conflicting claims of properties. So through the serial numbers, no? So let's say there are two parties which are claiming for a recovered, let's say, motor yan na ninakaw o kaya firearm, ninakaw. Tapos dalawa yung nagka-claim. No? So, when the numbers were already restored, syempre may mga papel yung mga firearms na yan. So, sino ngayon yung may papel which is identical with the recovered or the restored tampered number? So, kasama to sa letter A. That's one importance of the macro etching in criminal investigation. Now, letter B. The property found in the possession of the suspect can be proven that it is actually owned by the victim. So once na na-restore na yung numbers, di ba magagaling ang mga criminal guys, no? Pwede nilang pekehin yung mga papel na hawak nila. But once it is established or it has been restored, yung serial numbers nung article is restored, tapos hindi nag-match doon sa hawak nila na papel, so malalaman na hindi talaga para sa kanya yun. O yung object na nasa possession ng suspect para doon sa victim pala yun. Ayan. Letter C, an investigative lead from the article property that may have been taken from the scene of the crime can be established. Kasi sa theft to di ba? So ninakaw yung motor. So wala siyang maipakitang o kaya nahuli yung suspect. Wala maipakitang papel. Tapos ni-report sa police station na nawawala itong property na to. Ayan. So, letter C. Kasama yan. Bakit napaka-importante ng macro-etching in criminal investigation? So, A, B, and C are important statements about macro etching in criminal investigation. Take note, the other term, guys, for macro etching is acid etching method. It's the acid etching method. Next, number 43. Which of the following statement is correct? A. If the evidentiary sample is similar with that of the suspect, it means the evidentiary sample came from the suspect. B. If the evidentiary sample is different with that of the suspect, it means the evidentiary sample came from the victim. C. If the reference sample is the same as that of the evidentiary sample, it means it came from the suspect. Okay. Tapos, letter D, if the evidentiary sample is the same as that of the reference sample, it means it came from a random individual. Anong sagot dyan? It's a matter of reading comprehension yan. Okay, aralin natin yung letter A, ha? Okay, the answer is A. If the evidentiary sample, ibig sabihin question sample yan. If the evidentiary sample is similar with that of the suspect, it means that evidentiary sample came from the suspect. Tama, di ba? Ayan, suspect. Common sense yan. So you have to understand the question. Letter B, napaka-vague niya. Sobrang malawak. If the evidentiary sample is different with that of the suspect, it means the evidentiary sample came from the victim. So sa lahat ba ng pagkakataon, yung evidentiary sample galing sa victim? Hindi naman, di ba? So napaka-vague nung letter B. Sobrang malawak siya. Malay nyo, sa ibang tao galing yan. Hindi naman galing talaga sa victim, di ba? Meron pang ibang suspect. Yun yung ibig sabihin ng letter B. Sa mali si letter B. Letter C, if the reference sample is the same as that of the evidentiary sample, it means it came from the suspect. Yung reference sample, di naman sinabing galing kay suspect eh. So, vague pa rin yung question letter, yung statement letter C. Napaka-vague niya. Letter D, if the evidentiary sample is the same as that of the reference sample, it means it came from a random individual. So, hindi natin alam kung kanino galing yung evidentiary sample. Hindi rin natin alam kung kanino yung reference sample. So, mali yung letter D. Napaka-vague din. So, the answer is letter A kasi napaka-specific. Evidentiary sample is similar with that of the suspect. It means that evidentiary sample came from the suspect. So, it is a very simple statement. The answer is letter A. A reading comprehension ang kailangan nyo sa number 43. Diyan sasakit ang mga ulo nyo. Okay, case study siya. Number 44. Alam nyo to. Magagaling kayo sa memorization eh. Ayan. He is the molecular biologist who introduced the use of DNA in forensics. What particular evidence is it applied? Si Alex Jeffrey ang sagot dyan. Anong klaseng evidence ginamit? Sige, palawakin natin yung kaalaman nyo sa number 4. The answer is A, yes. But what particular evidence is it or he applied DNA? Yeah, fingerprint, tama. So, John Gonzalez siguro yan. Okay, so fingerprint, unang application ng DNA sa forensic science. That was in the mid-1980s. Okay. Application of DNA to fingerprint was introduced by Dr. Alex Jeffries in the mid-1980s. All right, next number 45. Shoe prints are those that are not visible to the naked eye and often occur on hard surfaces like glass or concrete. Alin sa tatlo? Okay. Or lahat ba yan? So A, latent shoe prints. B, plastic shoe prints. C, patent shoe prints, and then D, all of the choices. Those that are not visible to the naked eye. Alin dyan? Letter A, yes. No? So latent shoe prints are those that are not visible to the naked eye, and they often occur on hard surfaces like glass or concrete. So paano yan nakikita ng mga investigators? How will they locate that? So that can be located through a UV light. So they have to darken first the area and then through UV. Anong process ng lifting niyan sa collection? Nasabi ko na. The process of collection is by lifting. Okay? Yung latent shoe prints. How about plastic shoe prints? Ano naman yan? Example. So, ang example ng plastic shoe prints, these are shoe prints class which are left in the crime scene. Now, usually the crime scene consists of a soft consistency. So, yun yung lumulubog na shoe prints like sa soil, like sa snow, or sa sand. So, plastic shoe prints yan. Yung may mga naiiwan na bakas. Tapos lumubog yung sapatos sa limbawa nung suspect. Okay, or anybody else. How about patent shoe prints? Ano naman to? Patent shoe prints are those prints which are visible when a person take every step and then some prints are being left in the crime scene. So example, limbawa, nakaapak ng paint yung suspect, and then every time he takes his step, there are some shoe prints that will be left. Gawa nung pintura. So, ang ibig sabihin nun is patent shoe prints naman. Halimbawa, another example, blood, no? So, there's a pool of blood coming from the victim. Tapos, naapakan ng suspect yon. Tapos, sa bawat hakbang niya, may naiiwang bakas ng shoes, no? May shoe prints gawa ng blood. So, ang tawag doon, patent shoe prints. Alright, number 46. Ayan. When the glass chippings are evenly distributed around the gunshot hole in a glass pane, what is the possible position of the shooter? A, the shooter is an angle from the left to the right side of the glass. B, the shooter is at an angle from the right to the left side of the glass. Okay, nasa gilid lang daw siya ng glass from the right. The shooter is perpendicular to the glass. Okay, and then D, the shooter is at the rear side of the glass. Rear meaning sa likod. Okay, the answer is letter C. So there is an even distribution of the glass chips, meaning yung cracks around the gunshot wound is evenly or are evenly distributed. So meaning nakatapat yung shooter doon sa glass pane. Okay? Next. 46, 47. Ayan. The examination employed to determine the type of pattern of the glass that determines its composition. A, spectrographic. B, X-ray diffraction. C, fluorescence. D, polish marks analysis. Answer? Okay, letter B as in Bravo, X-ray diffraction. Spectrographic is, what is to be identified here is trace elements. Take note, ang spectrographic trace elements, baka mamaya yan yung lalabas, no? Ang pwedeng i-analyze using the spectrographic is trace elements sa glass. Pag X-ray diffraction, it's the composition of the glass. Fluorescence, physical and chemical characteristics of glass yan. Thus, the polish marks, this is the detection of the fine marks which were left at the time of the manufacture. So, preliminary si polish marks analysis. Ang conclusive dito yung A and B. Pero ang pinagkaiba nila si spectrographic, trace elements ang i-identify niya. X-ray diffraction, composition. What is the composition of glass usually? Anong main component ng glass, guys? It is silica or silicon dioxide, SiO2. Ayan, silica. Main component of glass means silica or silicon dioxide. Number 48. Ayan. Oh, this is a question which is case study. When the clothing of an unknown victim of crime was discovered to contain dust and powdered cement, what classification of dust it belongs? So A, dust deposited from the air. B, road and footpath dust. C, industrial dust. And then D, occupational dust. Ulitin natin na. When the clothing of an unknown victim of crime was discovered to contain dust and powdered cement. Okay, may cement daw. So what classification of dust does it belong? A, dust deposited from the air. B, road and footpath dust. C, industrial dust. D, occupational dust. Okay, the answer is delta. So occupational dust, why occupational dust? No? Sino yung victim na yon? Maaring siya ay isang construction worker, di ba? So he might be a construction worker kasi may mga cement, natuyong dried cement doon sa kanyang damit. Although ang cement is from industry, kaso nga lang, normally class and the most important, no, important classification of dust, no, which is usually connected in crime investigation, which give the investigators lead is the occupational dust. Ang industrial hindi pa nga masyado. Okay, another example, halimbawa, may rape victim na nakita sa isang vacant lot. And then that rape victim is observed to be with the presence, yung cloth niya, may maraming chalk. Ganon. So, ibig sabihin nun, ang clue ng nagkakaroon ng investigative lead ang mga investigators doon kasi magbibigay ng clue yung dust, chalk dust na nandun sa damit nung unidentified. Let's say unidentified yan. So, bakit may chalk dust yung kanyang damit? So, maaaring siya ay isang teacher. So, mga ganong mga investigative lead. And that is classified as occupational dust. Next, number 49. The best and most reliable method of determining and comparing ballpoint pen ink. Okay, B. Nabaliktad lang yan kanina. So, it's paper chromatography. Yan. So, ito kasi, spectrographic, absorption, chemical, it's for the paper. Ito lang yung bukod tanging ano. Ay, hindi. Spectrographic is also for nigrosin ink eh. And lagwood ink. Itong paper chromatography is the ballpoint pen ink. Itong letter C and D, cross nyo na yan kasi these are the analysis for paper. Alright. When blood stains are found, nabanggit ko to kanina, when blood stains are found on surfaces such as glass, tiles, and cars, what is the best method of collection? A, by scraping. B, by swabbing with saline solution. C, by swabbing with alcohol or acetone. Then D, by swabbing with formalin. Okay. Lahat B. So, bravo. By swabbing with saline solution. Why hindi pwede ang C and D? So, these are undesirable preservatives since they will alter or they will give a false positive result. So, hindi tayo pwedeng gumamit ng alcohol or acetone, di tayo pwedeng gumamit ng formalin. Why? They will alter the results of the examinations employed by the forensic chemist. Yung saline kasi, it's just parang dextrose lang ang saline solution, guys. Kaya it will not alter the components of the blood. 51. When the percentage of alcohol in the blood is between 0.35 to 0.60%, what is the stage of intoxication? A, coma or death. B, stupor. C, stimulation. And then D, confusion. Okay, so the answer is A, coma or death. Kasi ang confusion, that is 0.20 to 0.30% ang confusion. 0.15 is the normal. Ang normal, it's hindi. Normal is 0.05 to 0.10%. Yung stimulation, that is 0.10 to 0.20%. Ayan. Naalala nyo pa yan? Okay. Coma or death, that is 0.35% up to point and up. So, coma or death yan. Yung stupor is 0.30% to or 0.20, I should say, 0.20 to 0.30% or 35. Depende sa tolerance ng tao sa alak kasi yan di ba? Kaya nag-overlap yung explanation ng mga prof nyo dyan kasi depende sa tolerance natin sa alak. Kasi may madaling malasing, merong hindi. All right, next. It deals with the systematic classification and identification of rock-forming minerals, rocks, and soil. A, geology. B, petrography. C, petrographic analysis. D, spectrographic analysis. It's not. It is letter B, petrography. B as in Bravo. It's petrography. It deals, kasi yung analysis is the test. Okay? So yung letter C and D, guys, i-cross nyo na yan. Bakit? These are actually different examinations. Yung deals with the systematic, pag nakita nyo yung deals with the systematic, it is science. No? It is the coverage. It is the area. So geology and petrography lang yung pamimilian. Normal of alcohol is 0.05 to 0.10%. Ma'am, ilan nga po normal ng alcohol content? It is 0.05 to 0.10%. Ayan. Oo nga, minsan natatanong yan. Alam niyo pati yung mga collection guys, natatanong yan. Alright, next. Which of the following statements is not true? Okay. DNA is stable since it can be isolated from material that is months or even years old. B, DNA can be obtained from a wide variety of biological sources like blood, semen, hair, saliva, and bones. C, DNA can be replicated in the lab from a very small amount of initial material through the process called PCR. PCR is the polymerase chain reaction. D, DNA does not show greater variability from one individual to another. The answer is delta because it shows a greater variability. No? Meaning, we have different DNA patterns. Ako, kayo, at kahit sino sa inyo, magkakaiba tayo ng variability means difference. No? DNA is very conclusive because it shows a greater variability from one individual to another. So, yung presence ng does not, yan ang nagkamali dyan. So, it's just a matter of understanding it. DNA class pwede sa sa lumang materials, no? Exception kung na na formalin na yung let's say the forensic examiners will obtain some samples from a human dead body. Dapat hindi naka-formalin kasi kung naka-formalin yan, mag-alter na naman sa DNA yan. It will give a false positive reaction. Babaguhin niya yung DNA pattern. O kaya sira yung specimen. The forensic chemist cannot extract the deoxyribonucleic acid from the material if it has been soaked or reacted with formalin. Ayan. Okay, number 54. The following are some biological specimens used for DNA analysis except, kaya tingnan ko, magaling kayong tumingin ng maling sagot dyan. A, semen and seminal stains. B, blood and blood stains. C, hair without follicles or roots. D, bones. Okay, tingnan nyo. Mali yung sagot. Letter C. It should be hairs with follicles or roots. So, walang kwenta, guys, kung ang sinubmit ay hair without roots. Kasi ang DNA nandoon sa roots. Bones can be submitted. No? Lahat naman yan submitted. Kaso lang si hair, yes, yung nakadikit, that's the roots or the foil. Yung kulay puti. Ayan. Hairs without follicles, hindi pwede. Kung kinat lang yung hair, tas yun yung isa-submit, it's not advisable for the DNA. Walang makukuhang DNA yan. No? Kasi ang DNA, makukuha lang sa nucleus yan. Ang may nucleus, yung roots. Ito mismong pinaka-hair natin, yung pinaka-shaft sa yung tip niya, walang nucleus yan. All right. Next, number 55. Which of the following statement is correct? Mga case study ito eh. Na-repeat lang yan. Sorry. 56 na tayo. The hereditary material that contains the genetic information necessary for the duplication of cells and production of proteins in all living organisms. Anong sagot natin dito? Okay. So it's the deoxyribonucleic acid. Okay. Ang chromosomes hindi naman. Enzymes hindi. Lahat ng katawan natin. Alright. Ano to? Meron na tayo dito. Anong work ni Landsteiner pala? Speaking of Landsteiner, may mga nagte-take down notes dito eh. What was the contribution of Landsteiner to forensic science? Yes, very good, Wendell. Group of blood. So he was the one who introduced the 4 blood groups. 54 and 55. 54, 55. 54 is letter D, delta. 53 to. Then 54 is C. 55. Ay, ano na yan? Na-repeat lang to. Letter A ang sagot dito. Letter A ang sagot yan. Okay na? 57, si Jeffries na ulit. So, Landsteiner is blood grouping to, ha? Oh, may kaala. 50. Let's go to 50. Letter B, Bravo. Okay. Ano pa? Kasunod, we have, these are finely powdered materials that may be found on the clothing of employees engaged in some industries. Oh, from the word industries, bonus question. So that's industrial. Pero minsan kasi nakalagay dyan, clothing of employees. Pwedeng occupational dyan pagka hindi nyo napansin yan eh. Kasi clothing of employees. Alright, so industrial ang sagot. 59. Which of the following statements is correct? So this is in soil analysis. It is always possible to determine the whereabouts of a suspect using soil as evidence. B, soil as evidence in crime investigation is corroborative evidence. C, soil found in the belongings of a suspect can prove that he is guilty. D, soil can be analyzed by microscopic examination. The best answer. Best. Letter C, tanggal yan. Kasi best. Okay, letter B. Kasi letter B, bravo. It is always possible to determine the whereabouts of a suspect using soil as evidence. Paano pag walang nakuhang soil sample sa suspect? So, across nyo yung letter A, hindi siya pwede. B, soil as evidence in crime investigation is corroborative evidence. Okay, so that's the answer. Kasi circumstantial evidence yan. Excuse lang guys. All right. Soil can be analyzed by microscopic examination. Generalized, vague din yung sa soil can be analyzed by microscopic examination. Hindi siya ganun ka-conclusive. The most conclusive way of identifying soil samples is through spectrographic analysis. Spectrographic and X-ray diffraction. Ayan. Number 60. It is referred to as the naturally occurring organic materials found on the, okay, so A, dust, B, soil, C, mud, D, grime. So, ano na yan, general, ano na yan, soil. Kasi dust is a form of a soil or a part of soil. Mud, a form of soil. Grime, ano din yan, dumi din yan. Ano yung grime? It's, libag ang grime, clay soil. Okay, specific yung soil. Generalized na siya. Covered na lahat siya. 61. The following are applications of metallurgy to crime detection. A, nail examination. B, counterfeit coins. C, restoration of tampered serial numbers. D, DPA paraffin test. Sagot? D, as in Delta. Nail examination is included as one application of metallurgy to crime detection, guys. Ano tong nail examination? Nail examination is the direct examination for the presence of metals or metallic fragments on the fingernails of a victim, especially in poisoning cases. Okay? Yung nail examination, hindi yung pako yan ha. It's the fingernails examination yan. So determination of the presence of metallic fragments, especially in poisoning cases. So kasama yan sa application ng metallurgy. So the answer is D, syempre. DPA paraffin is for the determination of whether a person fired a gun or not with his bare hands. Okay. So, ang counterfeit coins naman, and coins are made up of metal. So, kasama yan. Okay. Serial numbers are usually embossed on metal. So, kasama yan. So, ang isipin nyo dyan, alin dyan yung hindi kayang gawin sa metals. O, yun yung exception. 62, it involves the application of chemical solution on a metallic surface where the serial numbers are embedded in observing any chemical reaction that may take place. A, macro etching. B, micro etching. Okay, macro etching ang sagot dyan. So it is acid etching method or the macro etching. A micro is a microscopic yan. So mali. All right. So the best answer or the correct answer is the macro etching. Ay, tapos na tayo dito. 63 repeated na to. So this is letter D. The answer is letter D. 64. Chemicals used to restore numbers in iron and steel. All right. A, nitric acid plus glycerin plus hydrofluoric acid. B, cupric chloride, hydrochloric acid plus water and 15% nitric acid. C, glacial acetic acid plus water, and then D, concentrated nitric acid. It's letter B. So that's a copper chloride plus hydrochloric acid plus water and 15% nitric acid. So iron and steel yan. How about the nitric acid? Anong klaseng metal ang paggagamitan ng letter A? Lead. Okay, lead. L-E-A-D. Kung ang metal ay gawa sa lead, ang etching fluid na gagamitin is letter A. Okay, kung may kopya kayo niyan, isulat nyo na lang. Glacial acetic acid plus water paggawa sa aluminum. Okay, and then concentrated nitric acid kung yung serial number ay nasa silver. Ayan. Next, number 65. Which of the following, hindi pa ba natin natatapos to? Which of the following statements is correct? It is not always possible to restore the original numbers of tampered serial numbers. It is always possible to restore the original numbers of tampered serial numbers. C, it is not possible to restore numbers. D, it is possible to restore. Okay, ang sagot is we have letter A. Medyo na-reword lang yung ating kanina. All right, the following are methods applied to soil analysis except X-ray diffraction, spectrographic, gas chromatography, none of the choices. What's the answer? C, gas chromatography. Gas chromatography is not applied. Ang soil analysis natin, X-ray diffraction, spectrographic, we have density gradient analysis. Yan ang mga test para dyan. And then the other one is, okay, 65, A. 65 is A. Okay, 67. 64. Okay, wait lang. 64, letter B, bravo. Okay, next, saan na tayo? Which among the following is the method applied in blood alcohol concentration determination? A, gas chromatography, B, thermal analysis, C, DNA analysis, D, we have spectrographic analysis. Okay, the answer, guys, is letter A. Thermal analysis is for soil. Okay, DNA, alam niyo naman yan, hindi pwede yan sa blood alcohol concentration determination. DNA is hereditary character yan, yung kinukuha dyan. Spectrographic is composition naman. Composition of a substance ang spectrographic. So chromatography, gas chromatography is the answer. So gas chromatography is to determine the amount of the alcohol or the percentage composition of blood sample coming from a suspect of, let's say, a traffic accident. Yan yung mga application naman ng blood alcohol concentration determination. 68. A classification of dust that can be used by investigators as investigative lead in identification of victims in crime scenes. Na-reward to. Anong sagot? A, we have occupational dust. Okay. Next. The ideal amount of soil sample to be submitted for soil analysis. A, 10 milligrams. B, 25 milligrams. C, 20 milligrams. Then D, 30. The answer is B. Bravo. Okay, 70. Once a DNA sample is submitted for analysis, after how many days or hours will the forensic examiners must release the result? Okay, B. Suntok sa buwan na question daw to. Tinanong na to sa sa board exam. Kaso lang, ang choices ay wala dyan. Alam nyo kung anong choice na sagot nilang tama? 1 month daw. 1 month, delayed tactics yun ng laboratory. Only in the Philippines yun. Pero ang standard, it should be 48 to 72 hours. Kailangan ilabas ng labas ng lab yung result. Oo. Nabasa mo 1 month. Ang sagot diyan 48 to 72. Hayaan nyo na, hindi na daw, pero 1 month nga daw yung yung sagot niyan. Suntok sa buwan na. Di kung kung ma-encounter pa niyo yung question, di kung walang ganyan walang ganyan choices, mag 1 month kayo. Pero alam niyo yung standard na sagot diyan 48 to 72 hours. Nag 1 month lang sa crime lab. Only in the Philippines. Grabe. Namatay na daw yung examiner niyan, sabi ni Doc Manlusok. Kasi nag-PM sa akin yan, ma. Oo nga. Nag-PM nag-PM si Doc Manlusok sa akin. Sabi niya, ma'am, anong sagot dito? Sabi ko, 48 to 72 hours. Sabi kong ganun. Tapos, ma'am, bakit? Sabi ko, ma'am, tinanong sa board exam yan. Purpose ng exam nitong DNA? Hindi ko makuha yung yung tanong. Purpose ng exam? Depende sa purpose ng exam. Hindi standard yan 48 to 72 hours. Sabi niya, ma'am, baka hindi na lalabas yung question niya, not unless na i-recycle nila yung question. 1 month nga daw ang sinagot. Pero patay na yung nagbigay ng question na yun, sabi ni Doc Manlusok. Natawa nga ako sa kanya. Nagtawagan pa kami dahil dito sa question na to. Alright, next, 71. A cast of a shoe impression collected in a crime scene is considered as what? Is it question specimen, standard specimen, physical evidence, all of the choices? Hindi D. It is letter. Galing sa crime scene Letter A. Question specimen. Ang physical evidence kasi napaka-vague din. So, ang pagpipilian nyo na lang guys, question saka physical evidence. Okay, because we are referring specifically to a shoe impression, it is the question specimen. Yung physical evidence kasi napaka-general niya. Yan, mga catching question yan sa board exam, guys. Question, ano yung standard natin? Halimbawa, we are concerned with a shoe impression which is collected. So, yung shoe impression, ang pinaka-standard specimen natin dyan, literal yung sapatos ng suspect kung nahuli yung suspect. Ang question natin, yung mga shoe prints na nandoon sa crime scene. Kasi ang tanong, kanino? So question, kaninong mga shoe prints yon? So that's the question specimen. Then this will be submitted for comparative examination together with the retrieve shoes of the suspect. 67. Gas chromatography, anak. Applied in blood alcohol composition, determination. Letter A ang sagot. Alright, next we have, sana tayo? Toxicology na tayo. 72. The best specimen submitted for toxicological examination for cyanide and solvent poisoning. Anong sagot? A, brain, B, lungs, C, liver, D, blood. Solvent poisoning. Cyanide poisoning. It is letter A. Okay, brain. Brain class. Tulad ng solvent. One example of solvent is alcohol. Ayan. Brain. Sinisinghot kasi yung mga yan eh. Rugby. Ayan, solvent rugby. Brain yan ang tatamaan. Neurotic ang mga yan. Okay. Rugby. Tama. Next. Blood pala is alcohol. Ayan. It deals with the uses. Ano natin to? I-specify natin. Brain is the answer for 72. Ang lungs, saan ginagamit to? Sige, nagsusulat yung iba eh. So this is the best specimen for inhaled poisons, ang lungs. Solvent is sinisinghot din, pero kasama kasi si cyanide. Tingnan nyo yung bagsak ng question ha. Kasama kasi si cyanide, kaya ang sagot dyan brain. Pero yung sa lungs, it is inhaled poisons, ang lungs. Ayan, carbon monoxide. Yan. Then liver naman, this is for exhumed bodies, yung naagnas ng katawan ng tao. So the best specimen to be submitted is the liver. Exhumed bodies yung liver, saka decomposed bodies. Tapos, blood is for alcoholism. Ayan, very good. Alright, 73. It deals with the uses, effects, and modes of action of drugs. A, posology. B, pharmacology. C, pharmacy. D, pharmacist. Wala na yung C and D. Okay, pharmacology. Effects and modes. Okay, pharmacology. Ang posology. How about posology? That is for the ang sagot B talaga, pharmacology. Uses and effects. Ang posology is amount. Okay? Tingnan nyo ha, A and B lang naman ang karamihan na dyan, na lumalabas. So, posology deals with the quantity or the dosage. Tama. Quantity or the dosage of the drug. Posology yon. Pag pharmacology, yan. Uses, effects, and modes of action. Alright. Next. A physical antidote that produces intestinal evacuation. A, emetics. B, cathartics. C, demulcents. C, precipitants. And then D, demulcents. Okay, intestinal evacuation is letter B, cathartics. Alam niyo yung cathartics, catheter. From the word catheter yan. So, halimbawa, papasukan, one example of a catheter or cathartics is the rubber tube. Okay, so ano mangyayari? Pagka pinasok yan through the esophagus, down to the intestine. So, magkakaroon ng evacuation yan. Emetics is, ano tawag dito? This is a vomiting, ang emetics. Induced vomiting, ang emetics. Cathartics, intestinal evacuation. Ayan naman yung keyword nyo, intestinal evacuation. 75. When caffeine is given to a drunk person or a person poisoned with morphine, what kind or what type of antidote is caffeine? Ika-counteract niya yung yung effect ng poison. like coffee given to a drunk person or morphine, person poisoned with morphine. Okay, letter C. Counteract the effect of the poison, its chemical test. Chemically counteracting. Ayan. Alright. Specific yan eh. 'Di ba? Ito, common yan eh. Caffeine given to a drunk person. Okay, 'di ba ang pangontra is chemical test, a chemical antidote. The largest amount that will cause no harm and at the same time produce the desired therapeutic effect. A, maximum. B, minimum. C, lethal dose. D, toxic poisonous dose. Produce the desired therapeutic effect. Alam niyo kung anong keyword niyo dyan? Largest amount. Maximum. Yes. Largest means maximum. Okay. Minimum is the exact amount. Ang minimum. Max. Largest. Tama. Lethal dose. Hindi naman sinabing ikamamatay. Lethal is na mamatay. Toxic poisonous is it causes destruction also. So maximum largest amount. It will just give the therapeutic effect. Ayan. Ano na, you just read between the lines, papasa kayo sa board exam nyo. 77. The most detrimental among the methods of administration of drugs or poison. Intravenous, poisons taken orally, hypodermic injection, or poisons that were inhaled? A, yes. Ano kasi yung intravenous? Intravenous is through the veins. So kung in-inject yung poison or the drug through the veins o diretso sa blood yan, it has the fastest or the most detrimental. Pinakadelikado sa lahat kasi mabilis. Ayan. Ito na. Poisons are more detrimental when they are diluted, except A, irritants, B, corrosives, C, solids, D, saturated. The answer is B, as in Bravo. Okay. So, what are some examples, by the way, of corrosive poisons? Acids and alkali solutions. Okay, like muriatic acid, yan. Ano yung 76A? Sagot. 76, maximum dose nga. Okay, maximum dose yung 76. Okay, tapos, corrosives, examples of corrosives are acids class. Kaya, yan ang, syempre, pag masyado siyang mas delikado ang corrosive pagka purong-puro yan. Ikaw ba naman masabuyan ka ng asido, no? So mas delikado. Pero kung diluted yan, ibig sabihin may halo ng tubig, less detrimental siya. Ang mga solids, no? Pag natunaw yan sa water, kasi ang universal solvent natin is water eh. So kung madaling matunaw yan, mas delikado, lalo kung nakain yung poison. What will happen? Kasi madali siyang ma-absorb pagka natutunaw yung solid. Even the saturated solids or saturated solutions, mapa-solid yan, mapa-liquid. 79. Poison is more toxic when it is blank. A, soluble. B, insoluble. C, slightly soluble. D, either soluble or insoluble. Okay, soluble kasi madaling humalo. So, poison is more toxic when it is soluble. Kasi pag insoluble, halimbawa, lalo na sabi ko, pag nakain yan at hindi naman siya natutunaw, so ang mangyari, it will just be eliminated through the feces or through the stool, through the pupo. So, ilalabas lang ng katawan yan. Pero kung soluble yan, madaling ma-absorb ng katawan natin. Okay, 80. A term, ano po yung sagot sa 78? Corrosives. B, Bravo. 80 na tayo. A term applied to individuals who exhibit unusual behavior to certain substances. Example dito is, halimbawa, newbie kang umiinom ng alak. Halimbawa, hard yan. No, hard. And then, nagkaroon ka ng pantal-pantal o kaya pamumula ng skin. A term, hindi siya allergy. Ayan. Hindi. It's letter B. Idiosyncrasy ang sagot. Ang allergy kasi, hindi mo yan ma-overcome. Pag may allergy ka yan, dyan, ano na yan? Lifetime na yan. A term applied to individuals who exhibit unusual behavior to certain substances is idiosyncrasy. Pero ano ang idiosyncrasy kasi? Pwedeng ma-correct. No? So like for example, your tolerance to alcohol, yung iba kasi madaling malasing, or kaya newbie na nainom ng alak, tapos namumula. Pero pag kayo nasanay na yung katawan mo sa pag-inom, mawawala din yung idiosyncrasy na yan, yung pamumula ng katawan. Sagot, letter B. Bravo. 81. Yan. One in which the history is hazy as to how the poison was obtained and why it was administered. Hindi maintindihan kung bakit. Which is the best or the correct answer? A, accidental. B, undetermined. C, homicidal. D, suicidal. Undetermined ang sagot. B, bravo. Sino ang naka-perfect na exam? Sige, tapusin natin. O sino yung naka 70%? Kasi ang passing dito 70% eh. Alright. Poisons that act directly upon the spinal column producing such spasmodic and continuous contraction of muscles because of stiffness. Anong sagot natin? A, neurotics. B, narcotics. Spinal cord yan, iha. Okay, C, tetanics. D, corrosives. Okay, it's tetanics. C, tetanics yan. Ang neurotic kasi brain. Ito, spinal cord. Spinal cord yan. Spinal. The word spinal is ay tetanics. Ano ba yung ibig sabihin na tetanics? Tetanus. Yan. Bawa na pa ako, tapos hindi nagpa-anti-tetanus. Yan, that's tetanics. Narcotics, ano ba ang dyan? Affected dyan. Narcotics. Brain din. Neurotics, brain din. Corrosives, depende kung saan in-apply yung corrosives. But corrosives kasi is, it will, what do you call this? Corrode the part of the body where it was applied or where it is applied. Nakakasunog ang corrosive like acids. Yan. And then 83, poisons that act chiefly on the nervous system. O alin sa apat? Is it A, neurotics, B, irritants, C, depressants, D, narcotics? Best answer. Delirium, convulsion, respiration as the outstanding symptoms. Okay. The best answer here is neurotic. Kasi ang narcotics pwede rin naman. Kaso lang, ang kanyang effect is delirium, convulsion. Convulsion. Ito, convulsion is when the person is already in the state of deeply intoxicated with alcohol. Stupor na yan eh. Yan. Next, 84. How about this one? Complete insensibility, nawawala sa sarili. Hindi alam kung anong ginagawa. A, neurotics. B, narcotics. C, tetanics. D, sedatives. Okay, B, narcotics. Ayan. Tulad ng mga highs sa Shabu, ano nangyayari? Pinapatay na yung nanay, pinapatay yung kapatid. So, narcotics. Loss of feeling, walang alam gawin. Magwawalis sa gitna ng daan kahit alas 12 ng hating gabi. Ayan, mga, yan. Alright. Next, 85. Poisons that produce irritation and inflammation of the mucous membrane and characterized by vomiting, pain in the abdomen, and purging. 83. Ano yung sagot sa 83? Nervous system, neurotics. A. Alpha. Parang perfect yata ni Miss Heras yung itong exam ko ha. Alright. 80, ano na tayo? 85. Poisons that produce irritation and inflammation of the mucous membrane and characterized by vomiting, pain in the abdomen, and purging. Yung bumabaliktad yung sikmo. Irritants. Yes. Si Windell din. No? Bawat sagot niya tama. Baka naman, Ma'am Sarah. 29 Purgatoria. All right, next. Poisons that cause local destruction of tissues and characterized by nausea, vomiting, and great local distress. A. Corrosives. B. Irritants. C. Depressants. D. Exhaustives. Destruction of tissues. Alin dyan? Yes, A. Kasi corrosives, it will corrode the part where it was applied. So, destruction. Nasusunog. There is one nephew of one of my former friend. Kasi wala na kaming communication. Alam niyo yun, uminom ng, what do you call this? Nakakwento ko to uminom ng liquid sosa. Okay. So, that's a corrosive. Kasi liquid sosa yan 85. 85 is irritants. B, bravo. Okay. Tapos 86 is A, corrosives. Nasunog talaga yung bunganga niya hanggang sa loob. Saan tinakbo yun? Sa may Jose Reyes? Ayaw tanggapin ng mga private hospitals dito. Okay, naka 1 week sa hospital, then after that namatay din. Kasi nga sunog yung kanyang bituka. Alright, poisons that are unstable and easily affected by heat. And examples are alcohol and phenol. Madaling sumingaw. Yan ang ibig sabihin ng, ayan. So, it's volatile substances. Non-volatile are stable substances. Volatile are also stable. So, with metallic and mineral. So, ang sagot, B, bravo, volatile substance. Yun na lang example alcohol. So, madaling sumingaw yan. Alright, next, 88. Poisons that are chemically produced in the lab that have useful importance to its purpose but becomes poisonous when taken into the body. A, mineral, B, organic, C, synthetic, and then D, non-volatile. Okay, synthetic guys, kasi pag sinabi nating man-made, so they are chemically produced in the lab. So, ibig sabihin man-made yan. So, artificially produced ang synthetic. Artificial or synthetic. Yan ang ibig sabihin nung gawa lang ng tao. So, letter C. Number 88 is letter C. 89. It is defined as the determination of drug use, poisoning, or exposure to toxic substances as part of a legal investigation. A, syempre, forensic yan So, it's forensic toxicology. Pag toxicology lang, it deals with the study of poisons. Pagka legal investigation, it's a part of legal investigation, it's forensic toxicology. Generalize yung toxicology Pero pag forensic, it is a part of a legal investigation. All right. 90, a chemical substance found in cough syrup. Yan, codeine. Yes, very good. So, codeine is the answer. Ang toluene, guys, nasa rugby yan. Okay, sige. Dagdagan ko yung kaalaman nyo dito. So, codeine, cough syrup yan. Tolwyn, yan yung component ng rugby. Analgesic, syempre pain reliever yan. Then aspirin is also a pain reliever. Ayan. Yan, so Tolwyn, limbawa ma-encounter nyo si Tolwyn, so that's found in rugby. Next, 91. If a poison is due to alkali burns, what special treatment should be done? A. Wash with lemon or other citrus fruits. B. Wash with milk of magnesia. C. Wash with water and soap. And then D. Wait for the doctor. Okay, ang alkali guys ay basic substances yan. So, letter B, wash with milk of magnesia. Ang milk of magnesia is an alkali solution. So, lalo lang gagrabe yung yung halimbawa na sunog ka because of alkali burns, no? Ang milk of magnesia, lalo lang lalala kasi that's alkali. Okay, wash with water and soap, lalong lalala yan, puputok yan. Alam nyo ang maganda dyan? Neutralize the action of the alkali. Anong opposite ng alkali? Anong opposite niyan? A, wash with lemon or other, yes, acid yan, acid. Okay, wash with lemon or other citrus fruits. Ika-counter mo kasi yung effect ng alkali burn. Parang antacid lang. Halimbawa, nasabuyan ng acid, ang ipang huhugas, milk of magnesia or alkali solutions. Alright, number 92. The repeated taking of small doses of the drugs. Alin dyan? A, habit. B, tolerance. C, addiction. D, immunity. Addiction ba? It's letter A. Small doses of the drug eh. So, habit. You have the habit to take in medicine kahit small, slight, sakit lang ng ulo, tas habit mo na. Oh, that's habit. Small doses of the drug. Kasi ang addiction, to the max yan eh, ang addiction. 91 is A. Wash with lemon or other citrus fruits. 93. The action of poison when the stomach is full. Stop the action of the poison. B, slow down the action of the poison. C, prevent the action of the poison. D, hasten the action of the poison. Alright, slow down. Kasi pagka may laman yung natin, yung tiyan natin, hindi tayo masyadong affected nung effect nung poison. Okay, slow down. 94, yes, tapos na tayo. 94, if a poison came from a bite or injection, what is the best method of elimination to be used? A, washing the affected part with water. B, neutralizing the effect using citrus fruits. Okay, C, applying tourniquet or a restricting band tied just above the wound. And then D, using traditional methods, using like garlic and herbal medicines. Okay, tourniquet, tama. Yeah. Next, 95. Which of the following drugs is usually involved in traffic accidents? O ano dyan? Yes, syempre. Alcohol. Sino yung bakit nangyari yung aksidente? Eh, nakainom yung driver. Alright, so alcohol. 96. So 95 is alcohol, letter B, bravo. 96. If alcohol is found inside the human body, through what route is best eliminated? Is it best eliminated or excreted? Okay, so urine. Tama. Lahat yan, those are some ways by which alcohol is eliminated through or from the body. Pero ang pinaka best is the urine. Alright. When the percentage of alcohol in the blood is between 0.10 to 0.30%, what is the stage of intoxication? Okay, confusion. B, stupor. C, apparent stimulation. D, comatose. Stupor ba? Point 10 eh. Point 10. Letter C, apparent stimulation. Okay, apparent stimulation, letter C. All right, next. Which of the following statement is correct? Yan. It is always possible to determine gunshot range when the characteristic patterns can no longer be seen. B, it is not always possible to determine gunshot range, especially if the distance is already beyond. Okay. Parang naulit tong question na to or ibang choices. Pero ang sagot, you stick to letter B. Okay? Yan. 99. Which of the following statements are correct? Nako. The MI of human hair is less than 0.5 while animal is more than 0.5. The medulla of human hair is always present while the medulla of animal hair is not always present. The scale pattern of animal hair overlap less than half while that of human overlap up to 4/5. Then 4, pigment granules of human hair is coarse, while that of animal hair is fine. Ay, nako, iha. Ito yung pagpipilian natin. Ang sagot dito is ano? Wait lang. Balikan natin. Okay, number 1 is correct. Okay. Number 2, baliktad ang sagot dyan. So, number 2, hindi kasama. Wrong ang answer niyan. Baliktad yan. Medulla is always present in animal hair and then human hair is not always present. So, mali yung statement number 2. Number 3, scale pattern of animal hair less than half. Okay, tama itong number 3. Number 4, baliktad din. Pigment granules of human hair is coarse. Fine naman talaga siya. So, baliktad. Ang sagot, letter A, 1 and 3. So, the answer is statements 1 and 3. All right, last. Which of the following can determine the composition of paper? Anong sagot? Okay, A. Ayan. So, A. All right. So, any question? Baka meron pa kayong gustong alamin. Aside from what are mentioned, napakadaming pwedeng itanong sa forensic camp. So, you can review. Kung meron kayong mga reading materials, you just read them. Tapos na tayo, guys. Thank you for listening. I hope yung 100 questions na yan ay may lumabas o kaya makatulong sa inyong lahat. So, good luck for the incoming board exam. Ay, may videos tayo about what? Mga lessons, ganon? Welcome. Lessons. Okay. Good luck sa board exam. Sana kasama niyo yung anak ko mag-board exam. Kaso papasok na bukas sa Sana kayo din. Kayo na ang next na batch. Good luck for the incoming board exam. So, thank you guys for joining. Meron, tanong nyo kay sir nyo. Parang ni-record ng admin. Hindi ako nag-record, sila yung nag-record. Alright, bye-bye!
Ma'am, maraming salamat po, ma'am.
Alright.
Ma'am, pauulitin uli, ma'am. Huwag ka magsasawa sa amin.
Oo naman. Sige, hayaan mo. Hanap pa tayo ng ibang mga questions.
Okay, ma'am. Maraming salamat po.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay, guys. Kayo ay magpahinga. November 8 ang next schedule natin. Sunod-sunod na yon, kaya ulit-ulitin yung mga nyo. I-review nyo yung mga pinagagawa natin at ulit-ulitin nyo yung mga video na na dinaanan natin para super science na tayo sa next board exam. Okay? Ay, ito pa lang December 2021. So, thank you and have a good day, guys. Thanks.